Do you want to rank up fast in Apex Legends? Well, here's exactly how with a couple tips from me who's already diamond in Apex Season 23. Let's go. Apex Season 23 has been out for almost a week now, and I'm going to be helping you guys rank up 100 times faster. So here's some tips that I've learned this season to help me rank up. To make sure you win every single gunfight early game, you want to pick a POI to land at every single game on every map so you can learn to know the loot rotations, where everything is, and so you can outperform all of your opponents at that drop spot. Now let's go to tip number 2. The easiest way to get KP off drop is to look for advantages that you have or disadvantages that the enemy may be in. Let's say if you land on a gun before them, you would want to full push and not wait for them to get a gun. Or you and your team can 3-stack land on a teammate. It all depends on what you and your team are doing effectively together. Apex is a team game and you need teammates to rank up. In the early game, it's most likely your opponents are going to be spread out and looting, so if you and your teammates can land on a gun, maybe 2, and go punch out and shoot one of the enemies, you will be left with a 3v2, and it will be the easiest situation of your life. But remember, you need to stick with your team. We don't want to get cut out. Anyways, if you push a 3-on-2 and you're losing, what do? 1, you can run. 2, you can fight. Remember, it's a 3-on-2. One of you guys can still go down, but it's not the priority here. You want to wipe that team as quick as you can, because the new support meta changes are absolutely ruining the game, in my opinion. But without further ado, let's go on to tip number 4. Now let's say you're fighting a team and the fight has been going on for way too long and you just want to disengage. Then disengage. You can't sit there without making up your mind and moving. It's either you fight or you don't fight. With this super reset meta in Apex right now, it's either you push or you don't push. There's no in between. Once you get a knock, you need to commit or not commit. It's all up to you and your team. Tip number 5 is probably the most important for early game. It is communication. You need to communicate with your teammates. You need to be talking all the time. You need to be in one big wolf pack with your team. You don't want to be separated. You don't want to be mixed up. You don't want to be fighting other teams. You want to be holding hands as a group. And you want to communicate with each other so you know what you're doing, who you're shooting, and what you're focusing at.
There's an opponent by me.
I can help you guys with your early game all you want. You guys are never going to make it to the end game if you guys don't know what to do in the middle of the game when there's 10 squads left. So, if you're playing ranked and you have a ton of KP, I'm talking a lot, you should probably early rotate, get a good spot in zone, and play your life. You know, rack up that RP and juice the game. But, if you don't have many KP and your team is struggling, you might still want to early rotate and hold teams out. Always remember, make quick, smart decisions. Many Apex players, they're too focused on who they're fighting, what they're doing, what they're looting, that they can't make smart decisions. If you make quick, smart decisions with your team, I guarantee you will make it to the end game every single game, as long as you guys are working together. Now, let's be honest, who's been third-partied while taking a mid-game fight? Because I know every single Apex player has probably been through that. So I'm here to tell you and help you how not to get third-partied during your fights. If you're in the most uncongested part of the map, then you will not get third-partied. If the map is congested and there's a lot of players in your zone, you will get third-partied. If there's a team pushing you while you're fighting, you might want to disengage, get a reset, and then become the third party. Tip number 6 is don't take an hour on your fights, especially your mid-game fights. If you want to clean up a mid-game fight really quickly, you and your team might want to take 3 different angles, 3-2-1 beam a guy, and get the knock, and then full push. Because the reset meta in Season 23 ranked is insane. You might get a knock, but 3 other teams might be right around the corner just to see your little asshole get knocked too. So, you want to be making sure, is there any teams around me? How many teams am I pushing right now? And how many advantages do I have?
Killed her. Get fucking murked, buddy.
So, I guarantee not a lot of people are gonna let you walk up behind them and 3, 2, 1 spray you. That's why you'd want to use maybe utility, maybe ultimates, you know, some of your Legends abilities. Or if your teammate gets some good damage, you can push up. You always want to keep the pressure on your opponents. You would never want to let your teammates fall into a 3v2. You would always want to be with your team. You never want to split up from your team. Now, this might all help you, but this will never let you rank up if you don't know how to play the end game correctly. To rank up in Apex, you need to always be aware of your surroundings. You also need to be aware of your teammates, your abilities, what weapons you have reloaded, your shields, your health. You always want the advantage on your enemy. The way to rank up in the endgame is to play at your own pace, is to make everybody your little bitch. If you control what they do, it's not going to be their game. It's going to be your game. They're going to be playing under your control. If you get knocked, then you're their bitch. But if you get a knock, you can make them your bitch to the extreme. You can throw many grenades. You can throw anything. If somebody's behind a box, they're reviving, throw a horizon key. If you need to get some point A to point B, phase. You know, if you're low, phase. Point A to point B without taking damage? Sounds impossible, right? No. Abilities are used for that. You can phase from one point to another. If you are going from point A to point B, you do not want to be making these little micro movements. You want to go from point A to point B. You don't want to go A to B to E. You know, you don't want to go A, E, F, B. You want to finish the fight. You want to finish the game. You can win it as long as you're not ego challenging too much, as long as you're playing smart and with your team. If you're only focusing on one part of your screen, or your crosshair is always angled to the bottom of your screen, you are absolutely failing at ranked. Be paying attention to all of your surroundings, including your teammates. Let's say you thought you had a teammate beside you and 2 people run up on you. Bam. Your teammate runs away, 2v1. You're dead. Now, I see all these gold players making the stupidest plans in game because they don't know where they're going, what they're doing. They make a plan to go somewhere and there's no enemies there. So, you need to be fucking aware, okay? Aware. Pay attention of what's happening in the game. Lots of pros say any information on your enemies is good information. If you realize somebody's healing on the other team, or if you realize they sprayed their whole weapon and now they have no more ammo left, you should close the gap, get in their room, and start spraying. Because not many Apex players know how to play fast pace. They don't know how to play at all, basically. They just throw the whole game. So it's not that hard until you get to Diamond. People start getting aware. You just got to be paying attention. Crosshair can't be on the ground, can't be up, just shoot the enemies. Now, remember when I said you needed all the advantages early game? End game is like that too. There's probably going to be more solos end game than there was early game. There's probably going to be more duos end game than there was early game. So, to make sure that you do not die late game, you need to be coming up with a plan and you need to be aware. Because how the fuck are you going to do anything without knowing anything? You'll go onto Twitch and see all these creators crying because they died. You need to focus, you need to breathe, you need to stop worrying about what happened last game, what's going to happen next game. You need to focus on this game and this game alone. Because every single piece of information that you can see, hear, shoot at, doesn't matter. It will all matter. Get better positioning for the end game, you need to start predicting the zones. It's not that hard. Let me just teach you how. So, on Storm Point, actually, fuck that map. On World's Edge, let's say middle of the zone is Fragment. You will want to be in Fragment. If the zone pulls towards Geyser, it will keep on going towards Geyser. Wherever the zone pulls, it will not stop pulling there. And first zone, you always want to be at the middle of the zone. You see all these ALGS, 8 teams left in the last circle. It's all because they are setting up well endgame. Some people can set up 5 Watson fences in 2 seconds, but they will be placed horribly and all your utility will be gone. So, how do you use utility properly? Talk to your teammates. If you're chucking 5 grenades and your teammate is a Watson with her ultimate down, that is wasting utility. Everything in your inventory can be used. So, you may be really good at setting up, but how do you get there? It's called rotations. We've been through this, boys.
Right here.
Now, rotating is not the easiest thing, but it's also not the hardest thing. You just need to know where you're going, when you're doing it, and why. If you have no purpose of going there, do not go there. It's like the point A to point B thing. If you're going to point A to C to B, what was the point of C? You're just trying to get to point A to B. The best places to rotate in endgame is heavy cover and height, not low ground and tiny rocks, because that's how you get beamed and killed. You need to make sure that your team is communicating while rotating. If one of your teammates get caught out in a rotate, it can cost the whole game for your team. So you might know where to rotate, but now you need to know when. You need to be aware of your enemies. Let's say they're in front of you, all around you, and they haven't rotated yet. You need to be aware of them. If they start moving and they start fighting, you can go around those 2 teams. But if one team starts moving and they don't know you're there, you can come up from behind them. But if all hell breaks loose and you need a position, use your utilities, be aware what's happening, and wipe that team and get the building. If the enemy is just standing still, why would you rotate? They're obviously going to notice that you're rotating and beam you. But if you have a couple seconds while they're fighting, while they're distracted, it's very, very good to rotate then. I guarantee you, if you start fighting a team out in the open and it's late game, you are going to get focused by the entire lobby.
There's a dead one.
And you won't have that much time to reset. Because you can't reset. Your whole team will be dead by getting 3-stack beam by 2 different teams. So, how do you fix that? You need to be aware. Look how I'm talking about awareness all the time. Apex, there's not a lot of smart players. You just need to be aware of what's happening. You need to be able to cut off the line of sight from you and your enemy. You need to be able to fight in buildings so it's harder for people to push. You need to hold your ground. If they're getting tons of distance up on you, then you might be dead. Because if a whole team runs up on you and you guys are out of line, you're dead.
Downstairs.
Dominating the last minutes of this game just to show you what I mean by being aware of the game. See, so maybe we weren't looking up left at the middle of the zone right there, but you know what? It doesn't matter. Me and my team, we win these. We win these all day. It's top 3 situation. We have a whole team dead now. It's top 2. Me and my teammates probably realized that there was one down. So we push up on the solo that split up from his team. She wasn't aware. She got one of us down, but she's getting wiped real quick. See what I said by the 3v2 situation? It's insane. I get rezzed here. I can push up with them. I can drop back. I can do whatever I want. It's a 2v1. They could win this, but I know they're not going to because me and my teammates were smart and aware. So, if my teammates are already pushing from the other side, there's 1 person or 2 people left, I can just push right now. I can go from the back and flank just in case. My teammates got this. And that's what I do. There's some stupid lost looking horizon right here. 3, 2, 1. We're the champions. Hope you have a good night. Stay blessed. Like, subscribe. Peace.